Dan Lusinski, Dark Angel Cutlery. We're here in the shop today. We're doing something fun today, one of my favorite things. We're going to be quenching some steel. That's right, we're going to be hardening steel. I've got two blades here that are kind of on the larger side. One big chopper Bowie that is full tang, 80 CRV2. And this has been beveled up on the grinder, profiles all shaped up, was forged, and let's harden it up. We also have to stamp it with our logo. So we have another Bowie as well. And I also have one I have to do some hitting on. I wanted to revise the profile on the Japanese 22-layer Takafu steel. This was meant to be a hunting saber, and I really felt like I'm a little thick in here. Hunting sabers are typically for getting that finishing kill on a downed deer or elk or whatever. So it's very popular in German culture to carry a hunting saber. I don't know if it still is, but it was for a long time. Those sabers really are more of a single-edged stabbing weapon, like a lot of short swords or sabers. I feel like this thickness in this clip really needs to be brought back and tapered out more. So like I said before, this is a 22-layer steel. The more I taper and thin this on the forge, the thinner I make those layers, and it can be hard to track the core of that steel. So I don't really want to do a lot of tapering, but maybe just a little more profiling in that tip. So a little bit of time on the anvil with a hammer shouldn't be a problem. Should be real easy to do. So after I might do that before we quench the other two. I'm going to heat up the oil first with a piece of mild steel rod that I have, and get our oil up to temp. So let's start with that. And we'll get that Bowie heated. The other Bowie that we're quenching is a hidden tang or encapsulated tang Bowie. You see I shouldered up that tang very nicely. This is going to go into a piece of stag, I believe. And just beautiful Bowie. I love the shape of it. I love the profile. I shaped up the bevels on our grinder the other day after forging, and even cleaned up the flats, tapered out, given a nice distal taper to the point, and also a little bit of a taper to the tang so it finds its way down that guard. Probably be the first one we quench and stamp with our logo. I want to get my hitting done on that 22-layer Japanese steel first because, let me open the vent here because I can already feel the gases from the forge building up in here. There we go, easy peasy lemon squeezy. So I want to do the hitting on that piece of steel prior to that, because when I go to put the other steel in the oil, it's really going to get smoky in here a little bit. And I've got a fan going to kind of move some air around, but let's not make it more difficult than it needs to be. So get some good airflow in here. This hood in the chimney above the forge really isn't complete yet, nor did I close up the ceiling all the way out here, which if you follow my videos, I was insulating in the shop, closing up the ceiling and creating a drafting chimney to bring those gases up into the ceiling and out the soffit. Not completely done, but we're still going to keep working because that's what we do. Let's see if our steel's ready to do some hit. I think our mild steel is definitely ready to heat the oil. So I get a piece nice and orange hot, and I'm just going to hit this in the oil real quick to get that oil bubbling. Got that rod right outside. Now our oil's nice and warm. ready for quenching, which is good. But I want to pound out that other piece of steel first, and then we'll start heating the larger Bowie and the smaller Bowie for quench. Make sure I have my other tongs here. Not those. A piece of here they are, right up by the camera, of course. Farrier's tongs or cupped tongs, whatever you want to call them. Great way to grab steel by the flat without getting the tongs very hot. So moving steel in and out of the forge or into the quench, that's usually how I do it. I also have the wolf jaw tongs or the V-bit tongs, but that's for grabbing the steel by the width or really much doing anything. Let's take a look at this piece. So I want to keep this this Bowie nice and straight after I do some hitting on it. Alright, so you can see I dropped back that clip on that Bowie. Now we should be able to drive it in a little bit. I can also grind that back a little bit more, but like I said, I just wanted to revise that shape a little bit. I still want to bring my point back up a little bit, so we'll do that, and then we'll be done with that, and we can also start heating the other blades now because we'll be ready for those real soon. So creating a little bit of draft, getting the gases moving through the forge. That's what I was doing there. So also running low on gas in this tank, so let's get quenching. Straighten this other Bowie back out. Okay, she looks nice and straight. I achieved the tip I want out of this hunting saber, and it looks freaking perfect. So let's put this on the cast iron pellet stove to cool. Yeah, slowly cool, because we don't want to change the state of the steel, the molecular state of steel. So let's get the other Bowie in, and I want to start moving a little quicker because gases are starting to run out on the tank here, on the propane tank. But we got a nice hot forge, shouldn't be a problem. Close up our gates a little bit, contain that heat. Turn that fan down. Got a good draft going through here. Warmed up in here really quick with the forge running. So a lot of the propane gases and the cold, they'll sit on the bottom of the tank when they're running low, and they're really just concentrated or condensed. To diffuse those gases, if you give the tank a little bit of a shake up, it'll break them up and get them more into a gas state rather than a liquid state, because propane will liquefy. So break it up and you'll hear that forge just pick up in pressure. I can also see the gauge on my tank pick up in pressure. So one of the joys of working with smaller tanks, these are 20-pound tanks. Might invest in a 100-pound tank one day, we'll see. I know they last a lot longer, but I've got 3 tanks here, so when I run out, I just switch one out. These are a lot easier to bring to the hardware store, just exchange them out. Never have to worry about old tanks or leaks. If you buy a bigger, larger, expensive tank, you run the risk of, if it gets old or if it has a leak or a problem, you lose your investment. So with these, I don't have to worry about it, exchange them out. All right, so when I'm getting my steel up to temperature, I mean, like I said before, I'm gonna be also stamping this, but I take it out and I let the steel kind of disperse the heat, and you can watch the color change. So it'll actually kind of, the concentration of the heat will disperse, and then you'll see the color just kind of balance back out, and it'll change to its straw color. So we're gonna let that do that a few times just so the heat kind of disperses to the blade, through the blade. Then we're gonna get it back in there and do our stamping. So let's get this really hot. In that ricasso area, I should say. So I'm gonna get that ricasso area right under a ballast in the forge and get some direct heat on it. And get that part of the blade hotter than any other. After I hit that with my stamp, I'm gonna have to flip the blade back over and make sure it's nice and straight, because a lot of times when you hit a lot of force on one side of the blade, almost always, it's gonna warp the blade in that direction. So you always have to correct after you stamp. After you hot stamp. And I've got some good leather gloves here that I hold my, my hot stamp with when I stamp my steel. Let's take a look at that other smaller Bowie. Probably going to get up to stamping temperature a lot quicker than the other one. That one's also, the heat is moving through the blade. That's good, that's what we want. We don't want to overheat the tip either. You'll see the tip will cool a lot quicker also. Alright, I think we can stamp this larger blade. That's not a problem. I usually make sure my tip is not under the ballast in the forge, or it's not getting any really direct gases blown on it. Let's do it. Make sure there's no forge scale on the anvil before I go to do this, because we don't want to hammer any forge scale down into our blade. So we're going to take this Bowie out, we're going to lay it down on the anvil, and then we're going to give it a good hard whack. It's good. The Bowie's still nice and straight. We're going to get it back in there. Now we're going to get it up to temp for quenching. I think we can also stamp the other Bowie now as well. It should be ready. So trying to work fast, trying to move fast, keep that gas going, keep the heat in our blades. So here's the smaller Bowie, or the hidden tang, nice and hot. Make sure I got my stamp close and my hammer close as well. Set this right down and be really quick. It's a thinner blade, so it'll cool faster once it hits the anvil. Very nice. Quick tap tappy on the other side. That's good. Let's get this baby up to heat. I think our larger Bowie is up to temp as well, so we're going to quench that bad boy next. Make sure our heat is nice and evenly distributed. Get any of that excess forge scale off. Looks good. Give that tank one quick shake, and then it's quench time, baby. Oil still looks nice and warm. I've got my aluminum blocks here for straightening. We're going to put that piece of steel in those blocks, and then we're going to clamp it in the pole vise here. Got my other glove, so I can handle the blade after it's quenched. Turn my fan up a little, and I think everything else is set. Let's do this. Looks nice and hot. Here we go. It's a 9-second quench, so we're going to leave it in there for at least 9 seconds. 8 Mississippi, 9 Mississippi. Now let's get it in our aluminum blocks. Get it in the vise. Second thought, I'm going to put it in the Wilton vise. Make sure she's nice and straight in there. Try not to breathe any of those quench fumes in. Forge is starting to run out of gas. Shake it up. Okay, Taylor Swift, let's quench this baby. All right, number 2. One nice thing, that last one was that's 80 CRV2, and I gotta say that steel quenches just beautifully. I never have any tings or any cracks, especially when I get my quench oil up to heat. This one's 1084, same thing. It's a really reliable steel. New Jersey Steel Baron. Thank you for always supplying great steel. I never have any problems. Good stuff. Let's get this baby up. Temp and give it a quench. Here we go. Oh, got some hardcore warpage there. A massive banana to that steel. Let's see what we got. I've got it in the clamps now, so we're in the pole vise. But it looks pretty straight now. If you saw it when it came out, it was a banana. So it don't look like a banana now. It looks nice and straight. So after we quench a blade, it goes into that oil for 9 seconds. Now, it's already began the hardening period. It's hardened once it's in the oil for 9 seconds. But the steel is still becoming very rigid and stiff. And as that cools down, there's still a period where the steel is fairly pliable. So that's why I grabbed those nice leather gloves that I can handle the steel with, because it's still really fucking hot, even though it's not red anymore. But the steel and the oil comes past that critical state and down into a quench state. But it's, like I said, it's still pliable when it comes out of the oil. Even if it's been in the oil for that 9 seconds, it's supposed to be in there. Time to turn off the forge. It just, one of our ballasts went out. I heard that little pop. Now I'll turn off the gas here. So I always turn off my main gas valve right on the tank, and then after my regulator shut off. That clears the hose from any gases. And that's it. We did everything we wanted to do. Got a 24-minute video out of it. God bless America. And let's pray for our country. Hope everything goes well today. God bless good steel, too. All right. 2 nice-looking Bowies. And the other one, clamped, nice and straight. The Eddie CRV2 came out of the quench super straight. The 1084 came out like a banana, but we straightened it out. I used that point where it was at its pliable state to straighten it out if you were watching what I was doing. And I think we're good, because it's in the pole vise now, and it's clamped down super tight. And like I said, before I clamped it down, it was even looking nice and straight. So I think we're pretty good. But we'll find out. Everything's still got to be tempered. If we have to, we can always re-quench that smaller Bowie. But I think we're good. Thanks for watching, as always. Dan Lucinski, Dark Angel Cutlery. Peace out.